You're listening to the Clean Comedy Podcast with James Creviston and Luke LaCoy.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Clean Comedy Podcast. It's James, and today I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Luke LaCoy.
Hi.
You getting that stubble going, the work from home stubble.
Yeah, I don't leave the house often.
Yeah, I know. I feel you. That's the same thing I have. I leave the house for two things right now. Stand up. Well, that's not true. Three things. Stand up, which I did a show. We'll talk about that in a minute. Magic, to go play Magic at the local game store.
I thought it was the other Magic.
Magic. No. It's I don't know what it is. It's this Magic. It's Magic the Gathering.
Oh.
So if you guys can see that, that's my hobby. That's my one weird hobby that I've spent way too much money on. It's probably cheaper to have like a drug addiction than it is to have a Magic card addiction. Yeah. And then the third thing is my daughter's cheer games. So she cheers at the football games. Football's just started back up. So those are the three reasons I leave the house. I guess church, but now they just like made it even so if you're vaccinated, you have to wear a mask at church. So I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm just gonna they do online church now. So I'm like online. So those are the only three reasons I leave out. If the game store made it so even though I'm vaccinated, I still have to wear a mask, I wouldn't go there either. I'd be like, nah, I'm out, dude. So that's I feel like I don't want to get into the thing about it, but if you're vaccinated, live your life. You know what I'm saying? Like do your thing, do whatever you want. And if you don't want to get vaccinated, that's on you too. You're allowed to live your life, do your thing. Whatever. I'm not the person for rules, so just not who I am.
Controversial takes from the Creviston.
It's not really. It's just like literally. I'm literally like live and let live. Like do your thing.
Yeah.
I don't care. Because I had to, even though I am vaccinated, I still had to take a COVID test to go do a stand-up show.
Wow.
So I did a show at the El Cid. I didn't sign an NDA, so I guess I could talk about it. It was a recorded show. They recorded it. They're trying to sell it as a series. The El Cid is a club in LA that's like, it's cool. It's like an old Mexican food restaurant, but it has like an awesome stage in there. And I think I sent you pictures when I was there, right? I sent you pictures.
Did it have two stages?
No, just one stage.
Ah, okay.
But it had like outdoor area too where you could do another thing if you wanted to. And they probably do like concerts or something there. But the stage was amazing. And so I did I went and did that, and I did 10 minutes of material there, and they recorded or whatever. Paid me a good amount of money. I'll say this. It's the most money I've ever made as a stand-up inside Los Angeles.
Hey.
How about that? And if you're a stand-up in Los Angeles or New York, you know what I'm talking about. You basically make nothing most of the time. You can get private gigs and make some good money, but that it would be like as a stand-up doing a stand-up show, not a private gig where it's like at someone's home or at a company or at a dinner for people. It was the most. So it was pretty awesome. It was a lot of fun. I met some great other comedians. I'm hoping to have some of them on the show soon. Super funny. I thought I was going to struggle because I've only done like Zoom shows and stuff. I haven't done like stage performances in a while. So I was like, oh, I'm definitely I was nervous. Like it's probably the most nervous I've been since the first time I ever did stand up. Like that's how nervous I was. And the host that we had was another comedian. He's really great. And he was like, look, dude, it's going to be okay. Like after you tell your first joke and you get your first laugh, you're going to be right. It's going to be right back in the saddle. Don't stress about it. He's like, the fact that you're actually nervous is comforting because a couple of other comedians like, nah, I got this. And like, not everybody did great. So I was like, oh, so actually, one of the other comedians that went before me did okay and like didn't get the laughs that I was expecting because they were actually like we were talking, they were actually funny. So I was like, all right, this is gonna be great. And they didn't, but they also did a couple of genitalia jokes. So I wonder if that was what messed it up for them. I don't know. Because it's like not the vibe. Well, it wasn't the vibe that I felt like for the show. So I was like, all right, whatever. But I did my normal bits that I normally do, and I did a new bit that I worked out with Robert G. Lee and his writing group. So if you guys are in comedy and you want to be able to have like a weekly writing group. Robert G. Lee has a writing group. You can just reach out to him, ask him if you can join. I think it's free, but I think at some point it may become if it gets too big, he may have to either wean it down or charge people to do it weekly or monthly or whatever, which I think is probably good for him, for like, it's his time and energy that goes into it. So he should get something. I would gladly pay like $20 a month to be part of this writing group, because I feel like the feedback is so good, like not only from the other comedians, but from also Robert himself, that it would be worth it to me to do that. So like, if Robert's like, hey, if you send me $100 for the year, you can come every single month as many times as you want or whatever. I was like, and you get time, you work on stuff, whatever. So I worked on a bit with Robert G. Lee in that group, and I did that bit. I wasn't going to do that bit. I was going to end on my FTB joke. And instead I did this new bit about rescue animals. I don't think I've told it to you yet, or maybe I have. I probably have.
I've heard it on a live app.
Did I do it on the live app?
Maybe.
Oh, I did. That was the rough version, right? So it wasn't perfect yet, but I was getting there. This was still a little rough, but it got great response and people loved it. So it went well. Yeah. So, it was good to get back on stage, and I feel like more of that is coming soon. I know that I have more, when the Burbank Comedy Festival is over, I'm going to go back to hitting open mics and doing stuff at Flappers. Right now, it's hard to get it up at the Improv. The Comedy Store doesn't even have a mic right now. They're not doing that. And I don't really want to wait in line for like 5 hours to go into the Laugh Factory, unfortunately. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So shows, things are happening. People are liking it. And there's a lot of good things. Like comedy is actually, what's funny is comedy is a really big driver right now. Like all the gigs that I'm getting, all the things that people are reaching out to me for, it could be like, oh, this could be done dramatically or this type of way, but we want to add humor. Comedy's, it's like, oh my gosh, like everybody wants comedy. It's like a drug right now. So start slanging your comedy drugs, friends. And you did something recently too, didn't you? Did you do a show? Or
Not recently, but I did like semi live show over the pandemic, and it was okay. It was fine. Yeah.
And comedy's opening up though, so I mean.
Yeah, and there's music open mics in my area, but I always feel like the weirdo when everyone's like trying to do like serious covers of songs, and then it's like, hey, I'm a comedian. Here's my jokes.
No, dude, I will tell you right now. No, hold on. That is the best way to go. Okay, did I ever tell you the poetry open mic story?
I don't think so.
So there's a bookstore, or there used to be a bookstore in Thousand Oaks, out by where I live. And they had a bookstore in there that had poetry once a month. They did a poetry open mic, but they listed it just as open mic. Like they didn't list it as poetry open mic, but it was like an open mic. But most people that would go there would do poetry, and a couple people did like songs. So I decided, I'll go do stand up there. It's not a crowd that's expecting comedy, and we'll see how it goes. I went up after a dude that played keyboard, and his song was a little downtrodden, so to speak. And I did stand up, and because it was like kind of bummy right before that, like the first joke didn't hit normally like it does, and then everything kind of snowballed, but I only had like 5 minutes or whatever. So by the time I got to the last joke, I got more laughs, but like you could tell people were still getting over. They're still processing what had happened right before me. So it was kind of weird, but it was okay. And then people were like, oh, we're so glad a comedian came. We never get comedians. And I was like, oh, great. And then I was never able to go back and do that mic again, unfortunately. But, and then that bookstore is now like a toy store or something, toy and card and game store or something like that in the mall. So it doesn't even exist anymore. But that was fun. And then they used to do open mics at this, this is weird. It was a coffee shop and wine store. So they would sell coffee, and it was like a coffee and wine bar. And they would do like a musical open mic there. And I went one time and watched, and I was like, there's nobody doing comedy here. Like I totally could do this. And so I like found the host guy, and I was like, hey, would you ever be okay like with a comedian company? He's like, yeah, if you have a comedian, sure. So then I started doing that like every week for a while, and that got great response because people, and it was a good break from like hearing somebody sing to now somebody's engaging with the audience and loud. And also I would work on some crowd work and stuff there. They would give me like 10 or 15 minutes. So I could like do my jokes, do some crowd work, test out something new, and still have a good time. And if I got done earlier, I didn't want to do anything else, I could give them time back. So I was like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you probably should. You should. If it's just musicians, go do it. Well, I mean, check with the host. Like, hey, would you be okay if I did?
Yeah.
But I would. Do you?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's also in my town too. So like the other fear is if I bomb, then I'm like walking around town the next day.
who
Like
cares?
wasn't that comedian came to the music open mic?
Listen, hold up. I did it in Oak Park, so, right? And the lady that used to go there all the time is at the Vons next to where I play games. So I see her like every single week. So she remembers me all the time. So it doesn't matter. Like, and she's always like, "Oh, I wish I could see you do stand up again." And I had some bad sets there. I had sets where like jokes just didn't work. People were like, "I don't get that," like whatever it is. Also, a bunch of people drinking wine and coffee, which doesn't make sense to me. So they were like drunk and hyped up. You know what I'm saying? It was a weird combo. But like it was a good time, and people were cool about it. They were definitely would give feedback. I would get, I worked out of that's where I worked out my first vasectomy joke. Like I did a whole joke about neutering and vasectomy and whatever and stuff. They loved it. It went wild. So it was like, it was great. So I can't complain. That place is closed now. Apparently, if I do open mic at your place, I'm closing it down. I don't know what that's about. We used to have an open mic too that we ran for a while, and it did okay. It like would fluctuate. Like 1 week it would be like awesome, and the next week it'd be like nobody. And then it was just so weird. And I have no idea why. And then of course, only a few comedians ever really came. It was mostly musical people and some poetry and whatever. But we hey, we got time. We got time to do stuff, so I don't care. So it was good.
It's rare that an open mic stays open. So
Yeah.
if you find one, cling on to it as long as you can, because it's going to be closed and soon.
Yeah, and try to help spread the word too. That's a big part, is spreading the word. I'd love to do an open mic. I know that I mean, there's a lot of things going on. I'm working with another comedian right now who he does like character comedy, but he said that's the hard part, is working out the jokes, because right now there's not a lot of open mics. So, but he does a lot of TikTok stuff too, so it's cool. We'll have him on. We'll have him on the podcast soon.
Cool.
But he's super funny. His character's really good. He'll do good. He's a veteran too, so it's also pretty fun. I'm pretty excited about it, and we're working on some bits for him. Like he's coming up with stuff, and I'm helping like punch up, add whatever. We're just doing things, so it's fun, and it's good. I think I'm really excited for shows. And well, I mean, LA, the weird part is that it's taking a while for things to come back, because like things started to come back, then they got slowed down again, then they came back, things kind of slowed. And LA County is like really the worst of everything. So I don't know. I'm excited.
Yeah, for your show, did they have to be spread out, like distancing and all that, and masks and?
For us, when we were not on stage, we had to wear a mask, even though we had negative COVID test and most of us had vaccines. The audience members, because they were eating too, like eating and drinking, they did not wear masks.
Okay.
And then all the crew that were filming and stuff all had masks.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a weird feeling. Like it was like, because everybody wants to be normal, but then the mask thing also makes you feel not normal at the same time. So everyone really wanted to be like normal, like, high five or shake hands or pat back or whatever. And it was just like, everyone was like, would hesitate. Like it would be that hesitation. And I was like, I don't care, dude. Like we'll shake hands. Like even the host, like the first comedian that went up, like, how you shake hands when you meet the host, the host like stopped for a second, like, oh, should I do this? And that comedian just reached for his hand, like, whatever, By then it was just like, who cares? Like we've already all used Purell. We've already it's like, it doesn't matter at this point. If we're gonna get it now, like being in this, we're gonna get it, right? So it's like, okay. But like I said, most of us were vaccinated, and everyone wore a mask when they were not on stage. So it was cool.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. That's the thing, is I'm not a doctor, so I have no clue like how any of this works. I've heard like even if you have the vaccine, you could still get sick, but then I've also heard it's not vaccinated people that are getting. So I have no idea. I'm just doing whatever I can do to not get sick and not get other people sick. That's all.
Yeah, because
I mean,
I was wondering if like that's like wearing masks, spreading out in the club, if that affects like the room energy at all.
they
Or
actually combined everybody into the middle table because there was like 3 tables. They combined
oh,
everybody into the middle table because it was like real long, so that when they did that shot, because we were in the middle of the stage, that it would kind of like look like that. So it was good. It was
okay,
good. Yeah, no. And like I said, you can sit at a table and eat and drink, and it's
hmm
fine. So, I mean, I,
cool.
I don't. I'm not Fauci. I don't know the rules. I'm just doing what I'm told. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. But I think the biggest part about it was everyone who's nervous about going back to do stand up, like because you're like, oh, I'm rusty, I haven't been on stage. I had the same thought and feeling, and I can tell you right now that it's just like, well, I hate to use this metaphor. It's just like riding a bike. Once you do it, once you get the first joke out there and you get back in your rhythm, you're good to go. Now, keep in mind, all day I listened to my set, I practiced my set, I wrote out my set like 18 different times. Like I really was getting in the mindset of like, this is my set, this is what I'm saying. I actually didn't even have that last joke on my set list, but I knew how much time I had left. So I was like, I'm just gonna try it and see what happens. And if it bombs, they can edit the video. You know what I'm saying? Like they can, like, no big deal. But if it does great, I got an extra bit. The only problem is also, for some reason, I hit record on my phone. It didn't record the bit, the set.
Mm.
So that I'm a little bummed about because I added like, I know when I left, I added like 3 different tags on stuff. And so I'm like so bummed, but because I added a bit to my Hogwarts. I added like a tag to my Hogwarts bit about how I didn't want like how it'd be better to spend that money to send my kid to Hogwarts instead of making them be a lawyer. At least when they come home for Thanksgiving, they can be cracking out Patronuses left and right, like something like that. It was something like that, and so it was funny. But I mean, they yeah, I wish I would have recorded. I feel stupid, but whatever. All right, and do you have anything coming up?
No, hire me on Fiverr. That's always available.
Yeah, and you're the king of like TikTok and Instagram story stuff. So if you guys want short content that you can make you funny and whatever, if you're stand up, you probably don't want to do it. But if you're like doing like acting stuff or you're doing like sketches and skits, like Luke is the person to go to. Like he will literally help you write and do that. Like he's been doing it a lot. And remember, he helped David Studebaker get his TikTok up, so he knows how the algorithm works. And if you work with him, he's going to write the sketches. You got to film them and put them up. Like he can't do that for you, but he can get the comedy portion of it and make stuff better. And 2 brains are better than 1, right? Even if you're a great comedian, a great writer, it doesn't work in a vacuum. It's good to have somebody else to bounce ideas off of and work with. And then you'll have better material. I totally 100% back that. That's great. And I am working on a ton of projects. So if I can't help you on Fiverr, Luke can help you because I am super busy and smashed right now. I'm working on another feature for somebody. I'm also writing a feature for myself that I'm hoping to get into a festival, not a festival, into a competition.
Nice.
So yeah, and then hopefully go from there. And then I'm thinking about submitting a comic book script that I wrote to a comic book writing competition. So we'll see. I don't know.
Cool.
I haven't decided yet. I'm like 50-50 on all that stuff. I also, here's the thing. I really want a manager, or I really want like like someone to kind of help guide me.
Mhm.
And I just haven't found that yet. And I also to be fair though, I have not submitted any literary works to any managers whatsoever. So that's really on me. It's not on them. It's not like they should be knocking on my door. I should be sending stuff out. And I haven't. I wrote a bunch of stuff. Just it's on my hard drive. I haven't done anything with it. It's okay. Whatever. So we'll get there. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. Please like, subscribe. Luke, where can people find you at?
Luke LaCoy on everything. Earthing.
On everything. All right. You can find me, jamesecrevison.com. Go to ComedyPreneur.com. I am going to be working on more blog posts for that, so that'll be updating soon. It's growing. People are going to it. It's actually going really well. There's a lot of good articles about getting started in stand-up, so even if you like have already done it, it's good to reacquaint yourself with what you need to do to get back on stage, because even I went back and read some things like, oh yeah, I should do that. Oh yes, I should do this thing. So, and then I'm going to be writing a series on there soon about emceeing, which I think is the most important thing. And then also how you can be the best comedian on a show. This doesn't mean the funniest comedian. It means how can you make a show better? How can you commit to making that show better? Even if you're not the funniest one, people will bring you back on shows if you are helpful and kind and courteous and whatever. So I'm going to do series on that too, because I noticed like I said, the host of that show said to me, like, I'm so glad that you came. Like, this is great. I needed someone like you to have, kind of help on this show. And I was like, all I did was show up and be polite. Like, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? But there really is a thing to it. And we also talked about how important an MC is, because he does a lot of MC work, things that nobody wants to do, but MCs are very important to shows. So do that. So get ready for that. And then, yes, go to fiverr.com, /Luke LaCoy or /James D. Creviston. We're there, and we are more than happy to help you win anything. Also, don't forget to read the book for August, which is Stephen King's On Writing. So you have it back there? Where is it?
Somewhere back here.
Do you know how important that book is to me? That book is so important. That is the only book that I own, I'm not kidding you, that I have in both print and digital form. That's how important that book is, because I read it a lot. Like, I'll look it up and just read it for inspiration. So check out that. There'll be a link in the show notes to Amazon to buy the book. Please use that link. It helps us keep this show going, because it helps pay for our fees for all this stuff. And thank you again for listening. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.